Right, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today to have a little chat about enterprise mobility, who we are as an organisation, and what we've got to offer in terms of internships, placements, and graduate level roles as well. My name is Paul Hanrahan, and I'm part of the talent acquisition team here at Enterprise Mobility. And what my job is working with students, working with universities, whether that's academics or professional services, and trying to find the best talent that I can to join the business here at Enterprise. We'll do a little bit more sort of about my career path, my journey as we kind of go through the first part of this workshop. But I've also been joined by a very, very special guest today, and I'd like to welcome JJ onto the call. JJ, do you want to introduce yourself and say kind of who you are and what you've done and what you're doing at the moment?
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm JJ and I'm studying maths at Reading University, and I have just finished my year placement with Enterprise over in our headquarters in Egham in revenue management.
Fantastic. And you are currently back on campus now, completing your final year.
Yep,
So yeah,
yep, back here.
superb. So have you had all your deadlines given to you already, or is it not too bad?
I've I've had a couple and I've only been back 3 days, so it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, crazy.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you've literally have just walked out of a lecture and have tried to find a room on campus to make the call. So I really appreciate it. And welcome to everyone that's joined us. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go through a bit of a presentation, a bit of a slide deck, just talking to you about enterprise. I'm going to bring JJ into the conversation as often as I can to get an insight as to someone who's lived and breathed this sort of more recently than perhaps I have, and could give you a nice insight into what it's like to actually work here at Enterprise. The idea then, once the slide deck's finished, is we'll move into a Q&A. There's a Q&A box that you'll have access to. Please start thinking about questions now. Don't wait until we get to the end of the slide deck to start putting them in. Pop them in now, and I will get through as many of those as I can in the time that we're on this call. And so I anticipate this kind of session lasting anything really some 45 minutes up to about an hour. So hopefully you'll find out a little bit more about us. So let's kind of get cracking and let's find out about who Enterprise Mobility are and what we do. So Enterprise Mobility is a huge organization. And we were founded in the late 1950s by a gentleman called Jack Taylor, who, as kind of 1950s Americans were starting to learn or own their own vehicles, realized that they needed a solution to when those vehicles were off the road. And he launched executive leasing in 1957. Fast forward a few years, the name then changed to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, so that it could expand into other states within the US, outside of Missouri, outside of St. Louis, where we originated from. And then fast forward to the mid 90s, 1994 to be exact, and Enterprise started to expand in other countries. We opened up our Canadian operations and then across into Europe. We opened in September 1994 in the UK, and then across into France, Germany, and Spain from there onwards into the kind of the late 90s and noughties. And as you can see from our humble beginnings in the early 1950s, we've kind of grown quite significantly. We now turn over $35 billion, employ nearly 100,000 people, can be found either through franchise or through the family brand in over 90 companies. And we've got nearly 2.3 million vehicles in our fleet. Today, we are still privately owned, and we are the seventh largest privately owned company in the US. We are now third generation Taylors at the helm. Our current CEO is Chrissy Taylor, granddaughter of our founder. She's one of only four CEOs that we've had. And in those four CEOs, two of them have been women. And we'll talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion in a little while. But for us, it's something we're particularly proud of, is that we've had two female CEOs that have overseen our operations in the automotive industry, which is incredibly rare. And we'll talk about that sort of in a bit more depth as we go through. And kind of going back to this time last October, we were going to the market and we were Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You would have known the brand. It's a household brand. Everyone knew who we were. And we woke up to an email from our CEO to say, we're now Enterprise Mobility. And the reason for that is we've come to realize that as an organization, we've got so many different business lines, so many brands under the Enterprise banner, that just by being Enterprise Rent-A-Car wasn't doing us justice. We've got 3 rent-a-car companies within our portfolio of businesses. We've got different lines within that. We've got our commercial division that sits within Flexi Rent. We've got our car share, which is our automated service, our subscription service, all the way through to the exotics range, which are things like the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis. And we even have a number of technology companies under our banner that are looking at things like vehicle telematics, that are looking at sort of research into alternative fuels and those sorts of things. So we really have expanded our portfolio of offerings. And if you think about it in its simplest term, if one of our customers needs to move goods, needs to move people, needs to provide a service, we have a mobility solution that's going to meet their needs. We can help them to get mobile. And that's why we're enterprise mobility. So it is looking at finding that mobility, that transport solution for all of our customers, for all of our business partners. And one of the things that's so important to us is that as we've grown and as we've expanded over the last 6.5 decades, we've stayed very true to our organizational values. These 8 values were put in place by Jack Taylor when he founded the company, and it talks about how we like to do business, how we like to do things in the right kind of way. And you'll notice that a number of the brands kind of pair off. We talk about the brands being the most valuable thing that we own. We talk about honesty and integrity being the foundation of our success. Both of those pair off nicely because it talks about doing business in the right way, being a reputable organization, being an honest and open employer with our teammates, being an honest and open business with our customers, doing things in the right kind of way, running the business ethically. Next part of it really to look at is the working hard and rewarding hard work, and the fact that the business is a fun and friendly place where our teams are encouraged and developed and helped along the way. And this is really important to us. We want our employees to work hard. We want them to put our customers and put the business first, but we want them to have fun doing it. And I'm going to bring JJ into the conversation at this stage. And JJ did a year's placement with us in our revenue management team, as you said. And JJ, what was the culture like in your department? What was the team like? You know, what sort of things did you do as a team to kind of make it fun and to kind of get to know each other?
Well, we got to take part in a variety of different things over the year. We do team outings, so we went to London once and we did like mini golf. We'd always go out for lunch together, which was always a nice thing. So you got to know each other a bit better. I mean, my department was huge. We're like one of the biggest departments on campus. I think there's almost 60 of us. So getting to know everyone was a bit of a challenge to begin with. But once you learn everyone's names, it was definitely good because you got to speak to a variety of different people. But there were loads of things to get involved in on campus. We'd have days like International Women's Day was one where we had food trucks come onto campus, and there was a talk where we got to listen to a couple of people about their successes. And then there was a variety of different days throughout the year where work was made fun.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
yeah.
And sit on that International Women's Day piece because we'll come back to that when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion in a little while. But just for you coming in, you came from 2 years at university and you joined us as a placement student. So how did the team help you to settle? What did they do to get you? Did you feel welcomed from day one? What was it like getting past those kind of early stage nerves and anxieties of starting a new role?
I mean, it was very daunting before starting, but I think from the first day, everyone just made it so easy. Like it didn't feel like I was working in a big corporate office, which I think is the nice bit about it. And also, my manager reached out before I started to make sure that there was anything I was worried about and just to clear and clarify everything. Um, and you're very much eased into it. Like you're not just thrown in the deep end and expected to like know everything. And most
What
people
you mean?
that
It's
work,
actually okay to make mistakes and learn on the
oh,
job, and yeah.
100%, 100%. If you make mistakes, means you're actually learning something,
Mhm.
which before that, I was like, oh God, I've got to make sure I do everything right. I can't make a mistake. But good doing that placement, yeah, actually made me realize that mistakes sometimes are a good thing because you do learn from your mistakes. And yeah, it's just not as daunting as I thought it would be. probably the best year of my life I've had so far. So yeah, no, it's definitely not as scary as you think it is.
That's brilliant. Superb. Thanks, JJ. And the last couple of the values that I want to touch on today are that we strengthen our communities one neighbourhood at a time and that our doors are open. And we're going to look at these in a bit more depth as we kind of move through the next couple of slides. So let's kind of push on and look at the next one from here. And when we talk about strengthening our communities one neighbourhood at a time, as I've mentioned, it is important for us to be seen as a reputable business, as an ethical employer, but also to be making sure that by doing business that we are not having a negative impact, but that we are having a positive impact. And this side of things is incredibly important to us. Our branches, there are nearly 500 of them in the UK, and you won't find them out of town on retail parks. You will find them in local neighborhoods, in sort of communities where our customers are. So we want to make sure that we're a responsible community citizen within that environment. And we've got a number of international and national programs that are designed to really sort of help support the areas in which we work and to make sure that we're giving back to those communities and to make sure that we're having as minimal impact as we are when we're doing business. We're in the automotive industry. We've realized that we have an impact around sort of environmental sustainability, but realizing that and doing something about it are two very, very different things. And the Taylor family choose to do something about that. And we've got a few examples just on the screen here now. And I'm going to start with the 50 million tree pledge. And this is a reforestation, a decarbonisation program that we've got, where the Taylor family pledged $50 million to the planting of 50 million trees over the next 50 years. But this isn't something that we started in sort of 2021 off the back of COP26 and kind of when climate change and environmental impact really came to the fore. We've been doing this since 2007. It's something that we're committed to. It's something that we're heavily involved in. And we've already planted in excess of 20 million trees in that period. Now, the beauty of this, though, is this isn't some faceless organization that goes out and does it on our behalf. We get our team involved. We want our employees and our teammates to be responsible citizens within the community that they operate in. So we encourage people to get involved in our charity days, in the philanthropic activities that we're up to, and actually living and breathing our CSR pledges and ideas behind that. So we have gone out and planted trees. I've gone and planted trees. I've painted the Itching Bridge in Southampton. I've done Coppicing in Oxford. I've painted an MS centre in Swindon and helped to support these different things. And we want our employees to put forward initiatives that they can help and get involved in as well. So if there's a charity that you're a part of, if there's something that's close to your heart, you can either request for a donation through the Enterprise Mobility Foundation, and they give grants of all sorts of different sizes to lots of different charities, or you can request time and talent and get the team involved and go and do something a bit more physical and get actively involved in supporting that charity. The other one to draw your attention to is the Fill Your Tank program. And this isn't telling everybody to go out and put petrol and diesel in their cars. This is looking at food insecurity, looking at hunger, poverty. And it's a very simple premise that no child should go to school on an empty tummy. Jack Taylor was very much about that children should be given an opportunity to be their best, regardless of their socioeconomic status, their upbringing, their background. So we work with a lot of food banks. We work with companies like FareShare to make sure that things like breakfast clubs, after school clubs, the food banks are stocked and are supported where they need to be. And again, we encourage our employees to get involved in these. I've been out with the FareShare trucks. I've helped deliver sort of food parcels around the community. Numbers of our employees have as well. We're also a big national partner with Children in Need, and every year we do different things and events with those. Lots of activity. It's that time of year that we're fundraising and getting involved as well. And there's lots of other charitable initiatives that we support. So JJ, I'll come to you again. What were some of the things that you saw from a sort of a CSR or a philanthropic standpoint? What are some of the initiatives that you've been privy to?
I probably would say one of the biggest one was definitely our Children in Need event over in our headquarters. We did like a I'm a Celebrity theme
Yeah.
day. So there was a couple of level fours that got to take part in a variety of different events, fundraising money. They had to eat some weird things and hold some strange looking creatures. So I got to be part of that. Helped set up the event with the charity committee, which was exciting because I'd never been part of setting up an event of that magnitude before.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see everybody on campus and getting involved in raising money, and the food trucks. The food trucks were a highlight, I think, with everyone. As long as there's food, everyone's there. So
So I guess a couple of
yeah,
things to clarify there. JJ just used the term level four. So level four is our director level. So it's directors, vice presidents, the senior leaders within our business. So yeah, any opportunity that we could to get them to eat something a little bit nasty was jumped
yeah,
on, which was certainly quite popular. The other side to it, JJ, you've just said early on in your introduction that you're a maths student. Yet
yes,
you were helping to plan events. You were getting
I
involved
know.
in committees and those sorts of things. So, what was that like for you, sort of taking on different challenges? Did you find that it really stretched your comfort zone?
Um, Definitely. I think espe especially being a math student, people kind of just define you in a box sometimes and think, oh, they only see logic and numbers and that's all they do, kind of. But I do have that creative side to me, which I do struggle sometimes to bring out. Um, so being out on my placement year has definitely brought that more creative side, and I've been able to develop that so I can actually get involved in other things rather than just doing my job in revenue management and using what I've learned from my degree. I've actually brought on new skills and developed my creativity to help in like those different areas. Um,
That's amazing. And, we'll talk about skills and we'll talk about our graduate program and our placement program in a little while when we talk about the different roles that are available to us. So let's just kind of wrap up on these next couple of slides. So one of the big things with our business as well, as I said, we are in the automotive industry. And for us, it's making sure that we are sustainable. It is making sure that not only are we following the trends and doing what we can as the industry changes, but making sure that we are the people that are driving that change, making sure that we are doing what we can to influence policy and make sure that the automotive industry is as clean as it can be. So for us, there's a lot going on in our business at the moment around the electrification of fleet, alternative fuels, hybrid vehicles. All of our field-based employees are either in hybrid or electric vehicles. So those that are out and about moving around get to use those as their company cars. And it's a big part of it for us is actually helping our customers as well. So educating them and getting them to understand what it is that it means to have and to own an electric vehicle, and trying to sort of get past some of those anxieties that they have around range and those sides of things. So that's a really important thing, is changing the way that people think about mobility, changing a way that people use vehicles and think about private vehicle ownership. Now, the other one that I said I was going to look at was diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this kind of ties into one of our values, that our doors are open. And Enterprise is an organization that is open to all. It doesn't matter whether you are male or female, black or white, gay or straight, from a privileged background, from a lower socioeconomic background, physically abled, less physically abled. Everybody is welcome through our doors here at Enterprise. We want all of our teammates to come to work and feel comfortable being their authentic selves, bringing their true personality, bringing their true identity to work with them. And as such, we've been recognised over the years for a number of our efforts and a number of our strategies. So we are currently in the Times Top 50 employers for gender equality. We do a lot to try and empower the women that are in our business, to try and support some of those other underrepresented groups to allow them to really achieve the career that they want to have. And JJ, you mentioned sort of the International Women's Day event that we did. And, what did that look like? What was involved with that? What did you take from it?
um, so the day was, it's got a lot has happened since since then. Um, but from what I remember, there was a panelist. I can't remember exactly who was on our panel, but we got to hear about their stories and how they got to where they were, which I think is very important, being a woman, especially like you said, in the automotive industry. Sometimes it feels very male dominated, but
Mhm.
at Enterprise, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. Um, if you've got the skills to do the same job as a man would do, the opportunity is open for you, which I think was quite nice to hear. Because sometimes you get a bit scared that, oh God, I'm going into a big corporate company and I'm not going to get to where I want to be. But it's the complete opposite. Being enterprise, you're, like we've said, your doors are open no matter what you want to go for.
Yeah. Did you feel that you had access to role models, to mentors? Have you come away with a sense of, actually, you know what, there's no glass ceiling, there's no barriers to my progression other than my own capability?
Oh, 100%,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think being in the department I'm in, and particularly my manager, she, being a woman as well, she's stood by me throughout my entire year. And even now I've gone back to uni, she's still helping me, and we catch up once a week, which is nice because I know for a fact I have that role model and that support. Even the other women in my team as well. I still talk with them, and they've been helping me get in the transition back to uni, and hopefully then in my career progression as well.
Yeah. Fantastic, brilliant, superb. And it's not just from a gender perspective that we get recognised. We're in the top 75 social mobility employers index. We've won awards for some of our race and ethnicity programs that we run. We are a disability confident leader. So when it comes to thinking about accommodations and adjustments and what we can do to allow people to perform at their best, whether they have a physical or a mental disability, we have people that are trained and able to help and support sort of people through the application process and into a successful career with us as well. So we truly are an organisation that is open to all. And JJ touched on sort of development and progression and that side of things. And that is what our roles are all about. When we bring people in at graduate and at placement level, we are not hiring you to keep you at that level for a particularly long time. We want you to join us to have career aspirations that will allow you to go where you want your career and your life to go. So whether that is in a very vertical line within our rental operations, within the branch network, where you go through assistant manager, branch manager, area manager, regional manager, all the way up to potentially CEO if your career path takes you that way. Or whether it's actually going in and perhaps trying different areas of the business, getting to branch manager and moving across into HR, getting to area manager and moving into one of our national sales roles or account manager positions, or whether it's actually starting a career in a specific part of the business, whether that's revenue management like JJ, or whether it's in our IT team or our legal team or whatever it might be. We've got opportunities that are far and wide across the business. And last year we saw over 20,000 of our teammates take on a new position within our organization. So whether that was a lateral sideways move or whether that was a step up, but we saw people moving around the business and taking on new opportunities. And that is what it is all about with us. It's creating that opportunity for people to progress. And all of our programs have got a lot of recognition, and particularly over the last year, we've had a very, very good 2024. We are recognised from a placement perspective in the Rate My Placement's Best Student Employers Guide, and we currently rank #1. This is something that we are incredibly proud of, because the Rate My Placement positioning isn't something that is done by us putting an award submission in, telling everybody how great we are. These are reviews and comments from our placement students saying about their experience, and they dictate the place that we achieve in that ranking. And we've come out as #1, which is just incredible. But we're also not just #1 for placements, we're also #1 for graduate opportunities. And we were awarded the best graduate employer through Target Jobs. So looking at how we bring graduates into our business, the opportunity they have, the progression and those side of things as well. And all of that lends us and leads us to being into the Times Top 100 for graduate employers. And you'll find us in that listing for our graduate level positions as well. And this brings me on to kind of one of the important parts of this call and why we do this. We have got all of our jobs open with start dates available through the autumn and into the new year, all the way through to, if you're still at university, start dates available in the summer of 2025. My call to action to all of you that is on this call now is to get your application done. Our jobs are open, they are live, our teams are interviewing, they're screening the applications. If this is something that excites you, if you like the sound of the business, and we'll talk a bit more about the roles in a moment, but if this is something you're excited about, get your application done as soon as you can, because our teams will be in touch and we can start the interview process from there. So let's start to look at a little bit at the roles and particularly at our management training program. So this is probably the bread and butter of our operations. It's about what 80% of our hires and our graduates go into. And it's working within our branches, working with our teams, working in that customer-facing environment and delivering that world-class service they expect from us. And the role is incredibly broad. You are coming in at that entry level and you are learning to be a manager. So we're going to teach you everything that you need to know about being a leader within our organization. So that's everything from an operational side of things, like how we look after our customers, lots of customer service, some sales along the way. You're certainly going to engage with the vehicles. You're going to drive some of the vehicles and get them out to our customers. But behind the scenes, we're teaching you how that business unit runs. It's a bit of HR and people management. It's a bit of accounting and finance and playing around with the numbers and understanding how you can impact the profit and loss statement. It's a bit of marketing and account management and teaching you to go into the marketplace to grow the business and build relationships. And it is all about progression. So bringing you in at that trainee level to get you to assistant manager, branch manager, area manager, and moving up through the business that way. Now, we offer this position the length and breadth of the country. As I said, we've got nearly 500 branches in the UK. We've got one down in Penzance in Cornwall. We've got one up in Strathclyde, and there's 490 in between. So you can start your placement program in a town or a city that is close to you. We don't ask you to relocate to kind of start with our opportunities. Now, as you progress through your career and as you're looking for promotions and you're looking for new opportunities, naturally, it's up to you as to where you look to go through there. And the more flexible that you can be on location, the quicker you'll progress, the more that you'll move through the different roles that are available, because naturally you're opening yourself up to different locations around the country. So in terms of the program, what do you actually get out of it? Well, the first thing that you get is you get a good understanding of the business. You get a chance to really understand what it is that makes the business operate, that makes you kind of understand what you need to do to make it run at its best, how to get the best out of a team, how to make sure that your customers come back to you time and again, and hopefully spend a bit more money. Once they've spent the money, how do we manage the money? What do we do to manage those costs? What do we do to generate income? Those sides of things. So you really do learn a lot of business acumen. You really get an understanding of how that business runs. Because ultimately, what we want to do is give you the keys to the business in the future. We want to promote you to assistant and branch manager and get you running one of those branches yourselves. You're going to develop a lot of skills. I speak to our teams in the branch environment sort of fairly often. It's everything from sales skills in terms of how we actually offer our additional products to our customers, right the way through to people skills, to marketing and business-to-business sales skills. Like I said, a bit of accounting. You'll learn how to be flexible, how to multitask, how to become more adaptable. You certainly develop your communication skills. You develop your leadership and your team working skills. All of these sorts of areas you'll pick up as you go through. And you'll get a chance to build relationships with important people within the business. As JJ mentioned, as I said, our doors are open. You can have access to senior leaders, senior managers, mentors, support people, lots of different people that are going to have that vested interest in you as an individual and help you along the way. So that training, that development, that support is absolutely critical. Our managers in our branch operations and within our departments, like JJ was based in, are all there to develop the next level of leaders coming through. One of their core objectives, one of their core functions is to develop their employees, to make sure that we retain, that we train and develop, and that we succession plan and progress people through the business from there. And ultimately, what you'll do is you'll get rewarded. Financially, there's a good reward. We do bonuses, we do some spot prizes, some little competitions and things that people can win, right the way through to getting rewarded with days out and different events that we do, up to promotions and those sides as well. So there really is an opportunity to get recognised for all the different things that you're doing sort of along the way. Now, this is a nice kind of snapshot of just some of the career paths that are open and available to us here in Enterprise. And I said when we were doing the introductions that I would tell you in a little while what my career path was. And I started as a graduate. I worked my way through the management training program. I got to branch manager level, and I was looking to see where the next step in my career was, what I was going to be doing. And I realized that my strengths and my skills were with the way that I treated people, the way I trained and developed. And I realized I was swinging towards the people side of the business. So I moved across to HR, went into HR generalism, into recruitment, and into training and development. And I've stayed in that specialist people side of the business since and have progressed down that route. Now, you might come in and you may just love the day-to-day operations and you go branch manager, area manager, group rental manager, all the way up to CEO, like I said. You might get to a certain level and think, actually, you know what? I just love sales. I never realized I would, but I'm good at it and I love it. And you become a national sales manager, an account manager. But also within this, because we are such a large organization, we have lots and lots of other departments that support our rental operations as well. JJ sits within our revenue management team. So JJ, what does that mean? What is revenue management? What do you do?
Um, it's still hard for me to put into words what we actually do today, but the basic idea of what we do is a little bit of fleet management. We make sure the cars are in the right places. Particularly, I sat with our one-way team, so we looked at more our one-way rentals and making sure that how could we use that as a more effective way of moving cars to areas and places that we needed rather than paying for transportation. Um, but also like forecasting and pricing as well. We did all the pricing for so the price you'd see on the website is what we would input into the system. Um, so essentially, that is the basic idea of what we do, but it was very interesting and involves a lot more than just that. But yeah.
Fantastic. And there's lots of different departments within our business. We have some call center type roles, so claims handlers, where we manage the accidents that our vehicles are involved in and support our customers that we need to from there. We have our commercial division where we've got HGV and LCV mechanic roles and apprenticeships. We've got support roles where we've got to bring teams into or people into our HR team, into our marketing, PR, and comms team, into legal. We've got a franchising team. We've got in-house IT with software development and software support and all of these. So there's so many different roles, and all of these roles are live on our careers page right now. So do please go in and have a little look, and I'm sure you will find a position that is of interest to you. And like I said, that is our call to action off the back of this call, is to get as many of you that have connected with us to actually start to apply for some of those positions that we've got available. So just coming up to the last couple of slides before I'm going to sort of get to some of the Q&A and some of the questions that we've got. And really just wanted to touch again on the skills piece. And these are just some of the skills that you get by joining our organization and joining on the graduate management training program. So you develop your communication, your customer service skills, that time management, that flexibility piece, leadership and understanding how to get the best out of people. You'll grow your emotional intelligence and understand how to make decisions and, you know, the considerations you have to take into things. You'll do marketing and sales, both externally and internally. Problem solving, adaptability, lots and lots of skills. JJ, I'll come to you again, you know, in your role in one of the specialist departments. What skills did you develop? You know, what were you like when you came in and what were you like a year later when you kind of finished your placements?
Um, One of the biggest skills that I learned, like more technical, was definitely Excel. I
Yeah.
thought I was like amazing and I had all the skills I needed before I walked into the department. And then little did I know, I was like, I actually know nothing. So my Excel skills have developed massively over the last year. But probably my most developed skill is my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I probably wouldn't be sat here today if you hadn't done my placement year. I was a very shy and timid person before I did my placement year. I probably wouldn't say boo to a goose, as they would say. But now you can't shut me up. I will waffle for days and I'll just talk to anyone I possibly can now. So I think definitely my confidence is one that's grown the most
Yeah,
over
so that
my last year.
communication piece, your people skills, your social skills,
Yeah,
that side of things. So
100%.
talking more maybe about the softer skills, rather than actually necessarily a technical or
Yeah.
a hard skill. So that's amazing. So good, excellent. So in terms of the process that you're going to go through, should you apply to us, this is pretty much the standard format. We start with an online application, and you'll be pleased to know that everything that we do through our recruitment process is people-driven, people-oriented, people-focused. The application forms are not AI screened. They are screened by a real person. The early stage interviews are, although conducted virtually, so over the phone and a virtual interview, they are done with a real person. There is no pre-recorded videos. You get to talk to somebody, you get to make virtual eye contact and smile and have a two-way conversation and engage in that conversation from there. Those interviews are competency-based. So we're looking for those real-life examples, those situations that you've been in, the things you've handled, the action and the action steps that you took along the way. So you can normally spot those types of questions coming a mile off with, can you give me an example of, can you tell me about a time when? So use the STAR technique to answer those questions. So hopefully some of you have come across it before, but the STAR technique is situation, task, action, and result. So tell me where you were, tell me what you were doing, set the scene, give me the background. What was actually asked of you? What was the task? What was required? Why was it important? Who else was involved? What impact would it have if you did it well or didn't do it well? Starting to think a little bit about the action itself. What steps did you go through? What process did you follow? Why? Did you need to get anyone else involved? What obstacles came up? How did you overcome them? And lastly, give a result, give an outcome. Was it a success? Did the customer go away satisfied? Did the team hit their target? Was the message received and understood in the right kind of way? But use that STAR technique to deal with those types of interviews. We then go into a final stage interview and visit to one of our locations. For me, this is always the most critical part of our interview process. You get to go and meet either the branch or the department in the sort of area where you are going to be working. So you get to go and meet the team, you get a feel for the working environment, you get a feel for the company culture, and you get to use it as an opportunity to make sure that we're right for you, as much as obviously when you're there, keeping in mind that we're assessing and making sure you're right for us and have got the skill set that we look for. And then from there, you get invited to join the management training program or get invited to come and join us in one of our sort of in-house departments. As I said, it is personal. There's no AI. There's no pre-recorded videos. There's no psychometric testing. There is no assessment center. All it is along the way is our recruitment team finding out about you as a person, assessing you on your potential and assessing you on the skills and the achievements that you've had so far in your life and your career. We look for 6 core competencies, which are customer service, a sales aptitude, and notice that it's aptitude, not experience. So we are looking for people that are able to influence and persuade, to negotiate and compromise. We look for leadership, and within that, I always tie in team working because I don't think you can have one without the other. We look for communication. We look for work ethic, so not being afraid of a bit of hard work, not afraid to get your hands dirty and stuck in and roll up your sleeves when you need to. And lastly, we look for flexibility. It's that ability to multitask and be adaptable. And those skills can come from anywhere. They could come from your part-time job, working in a restaurant or working in a retail environment. They could come from playing sport and captaining your netball team. They could come from being part of a committee and being on the society and organising events and building your flexibility skills from there. Lots of different areas. JJ, I'll come to you as well. What was your background prior to joining Enterprise? What had you done previously in life? What's your working background like?
So I actually worked for Sainsbury's for 4 years before I joined Enterprise.
Yeah.
And I worked between 2 different branches. So I worked here in Reading, and then I worked down in Brighton, which is where I'm from. So I was working between 2 stores, so I could, which definitely gave me a few skills because I had to communicate with different people, particularly around holidays, and organising my time. And I worked as an open day ambassador for the university as well within my department. So that got you talking with different people, basically trying to sell the university to new and potential students. So that definitely helped. and I did a little bit of work experience with Sainsbury's finance team as well. So
Yeah. So you've got a little bit of relevant to the role that you're in as
a
well.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But let me see. So you've not led teams of 50 people. You've
Nope,
not led multi-million-pound projects.
nope,
You've not done high-end, high-level bookkeeping and revenue streams and all that side of things.
never, not
So
once in my
how on
life.
earth did you get a placement?
Well, you tell me.
So it's around those softer skills, isn't it? Like you said, developing
Definitely.
those communication skills, those customer service skills, showing that willingness to work and to learn and to kind of get on the job. And that's what's important to us. We develop our own leaders, we develop our own department leads, we develop our own teams here. So that's critical. So we're looking for potential, we're looking for signs of those skills, not the finished article, looking for people that we can coach and develop along the way. So perfect. Good. So if you want to stay in touch post this event, these are some of our social channels. There's a lot of content out there. Our Instagram page is gathering a lot of momentum. We've got blue tick status on it, which is amazing. So we've got the official page. There's lots around there that you can get a nice feel for the company culture, the environment, the type of people that we are that are working in the business. LinkedIn's a good source of information, but also our YouTube channels are very, very useful. The session that we're doing today, a number of these are on our YouTube channel. So as you can see, different sort of versions and different ways that people have told the story. We've got some different series on there around university life. So things on there like how to survive your first year at university, how to budget, how to make your student loan go a bit longer, how to make friends at university. We've also got some employability webinars on there. So how to get through interviews, how to survive assessment centres, how to showcase skills you've developed in sports and societies in a professional setting. So there's lots of help and content out there for people who want to go and find it. So do please connect with some of our socials. And then the last piece from me, just before we kind of go over to the Q&A, because I see that we've had a lot go into the chat box and different things. So we're going to get to those now. This is the call to action, as I said. Depending on where you're calling in from, if you're in the UK or in Ireland, you can see the two careers pages there. Do please visit the careers page, complete an online application, and a member of the recruitment team will be in touch from there once they've screened, and we can start to think about interviews and that side of things. Likewise, you've got my email address on the screen. If you'd like to drop me a message, if there's anything you'd like to reach out about, do please ping me an email and I'll get to them as soon as I can. But my call to action, as I said, is get your application done as soon as possible. So perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing the slide deck, and we're going to get to some of the questions in the Q&A and start to sort of get through some of these. And hopefully, JJ, I'm going to send as many as I can your way. So let's have a little look. So right, so a couple that we can start with. So international opportunities and enterprise. Obviously, we are an international organisation. We are family branded in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, France, Germany, and Spain. If you have got the right to work within those countries, all of those opportunities are posted internally. So you will get the chance to sort of look at them and go from there. Obviously, I appreciate with the way that sort of some countries have tightened up visas and work permits and those sort of things, that it can be tougher to move around with the job. But once you get into those senior roles, if you are the right person for a role, trust me, we find a way to get around the work permit side of things. We will do what we can to help support those people that are going into them. So we do get people coming out of the UK and going into some of those international roles. If you've someone who's got language skills, brilliant. We've got international opportunities. We've hired one that I know was live for ages. It was a Spanish-speaking bid writer. So it's looking at how we put together agreements and bids and how we went to tender, but needed it with Spanish. So you could utilize your language. So although you were based in our European head office in Egham, you were using your language skills. So they are certainly there. So that's absolutely key to it. Let's see, what else have we got? Okay, perfect. So salary, I'll quickly touch on. So for our placement years, in our operational branches, the start salary is £22,500. For our graduate program in the operational branches, it is £28,000. Both of those opportunities both of those roles have opportunities for bonuses and little add-ons. So one of the things we do, just for an example, is we do an an employee referral program. So it means that you can refer people to the business. And if you refer someone to us and they get hired, then we actually pay you a bonus of up to £1,000 per person that you bring into the business. So there's certainly some scope to kind of earn a little bit better with us as well. Some of our support roles, some of the admin roles, the salaries vary. It really depends on what the role is. It depends on the seniority, those side of things as well. But again, when you're going through the interview process, our recruiters are very open and honest. They are quite open to having that salary conversation with people, plus also to talk about the earning potential as well. Okay. In terms of the 1 year program, we've been asked by Matthew to sort of talk about that, so the placement side of things. We offer placements in lots of different departments. We offer them all over the country. As we said, JJ did a 1 year placement, and it's really helped to develop her. JJ, why did you choose to do a placement? Why did you take the year out of university and extend your degree a year longer?
I think it's because I really didn't know what I wanted to do after. And I was kind of at a point where I was just like, you know what? I think I need to take a step back from university just for a moment and then do something different and then come back. And honestly, I've never like it's been the best, as I've said before, it's the best year I've ever done, and I don't regret doing it at all. Um, yes, you might not graduate with your friends. That's the only downside I've had. But from doing that, I've put my career and my future first. And I've got to meet lots of new people in the progress. So that's why I decided to do mine.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. And I saw a question that was up in the Q&A, and I'll come to the chat side of things in a moment. And so I've seen that one of our colleagues behind the scenes is answering it. But one of the questions was around benefits and perks and other things that the company offers. And there's so much around that. We have a contributory pension scheme. That's run through a private provider that the company puts into. We do some profit share around that. So based on the company's profit performance and your length of service, it tops up your pension that way. We've got private medical for all of our management level employees. So once you get to assistant manager, department supervisor, branch manager level, you get private medical. We have got discount voucher schemes that we do. We've got salary sacrifice schemes, cycle to work, all these sorts of different things. We have got brilliant maternity and paternity packages. One of the things that we talk about a lot around sort of the getting voted into the Times for gender equality is actually how much work we do around supporting our pregnant ladies in the business and what that enhanced maternity package looks like as well. On a less formal side of things, JJ alluded to it, we do days out, we do kind of socials, we do team building exercises, we do kind of bonuses. There's all sorts of different things. We've got, from a charitable perspective, and I should have touched on this when we spoke about the community work, we've got a benefit that is called My Purpose, My Time, and it allows you a paid day's leave to go out during the year and actually get involved in a charitable exercise that's important to you. We want our employees to be involved. So there's lots and lots of different things that sort of are there as a benefit. Company cars come when you get into branch manager level, or you get into department supervisor level again, or if you're in a field-based role that requires you moving around. So there's certainly some scope for that side of things. Right, let's see what we've got going on in the chat. So where are we? Bear with me. We've got the Okay, so one of the questions is kind of around CVs. So, what can people do to enhance their CVs? What are some of the tips that kind of I would give for this? And JJ, I'm going to come to you first with this. You said about being a student ambassador. So
Yeah.
you've gone to university, you're not just doing your course. How has that helped you? What skills did you get from your student ambassador role? How did that enhance your CV?
I think one of the main ones is your ability to talk to different people and having to change your style of talking, because you might be talking to a parent, you might be talking to a student. But also the flexibility to do that around your studies as well, I think is a big thing. because you'll find a lot of people don't get a part-time job or don't do extracurricular alongside their studies. So I think definitely having that on your side will give you that added extra flair to your CV.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, superb. And within that side of things, for us, it is everything that you do. I kind of touched on this as we were talking about it, going through the skills that you learn. You know, getting experience in your part-time job helps. You know, everybody has done a job where they develop skills early in their life. It doesn't matter whether it's a retail role, a hospitality role, in the service industry. You are learning and you are developing and you are picking things up along the way. You know, if you can do things on campus extracurricular wise, amazing. We appreciate that people are time poor at the moment and that people are having to maybe balance a couple of jobs and those side of things. But if you can become a student ambassador, a peer assisted leader, a mentor, support on campus, again, you're going to learn lots of skills. For me, I took a lot of skills from my own personal life. I always played sports. I've always captained and managed teams. I've led in the middle of a football pitch and in the middle of a cricket pitch. And that is where I developed a lot of my people skills. It's where I developed a lot of my ability to motivate people, my communication skills. I've not done a specific management qualification. I've learned to lead people in my personal life and then actually apply it to my working life and get involved in those sides of things. So they're all the things that you can do to enhance your CV that, you know, don't, when you're doing the application form, don't leave things off. Let us decide what's relevant. Just give us a nice, good overview of all of the things that you've done and the skills that you've developed along the way. I've had a question about sort of the hours and the working pattern, what that looks like within our business. It varies within the role. So for our branch operations, our teams are contracted to 45 hours per week. And we're open, some of our branches, 7 days a week, and some of them will have different shift patterns as well. If you think about our airport locations, it's a very, very high volume part of the business. Heathrow Gatwick Airport, they're open from 6 in the morning till midnight. So we've got teams of people working different shift patterns within those. Our standard operating hours within our branches, we're open to our customers between 8 and 6, Monday to Friday. Saturdays, it's a little bit different. Some of them are open 8 till 1, others are open till 8 till 4, 8 till 6. The 7-day branches, they're open till 4 o'clock on a Sunday as well. And you will work a rota around those shift patterns, around those branch opening hours. Some of our admin roles are 40-hour week contracts, tend to typically maybe be Monday to Friday. But again, we require flexibility in that. If there's something going on and something kicks off, you're going to stay a little bit later. You might need to work a Saturday as a kind of a rarity, those sides of things. But certainly in our operational retail side of the business, flexibility is absolutely required. We don't down tools at 10 to 6 and start to kind of hide from any customers that pull up on the forecourt. If someone comes in, requires our services, we find out what their needs are, we get the job done, and we might stay a little bit later after hours to make sure that happens as well. So certainly this is about as far removed from a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 as you're going to get. You're going to need to be flexible and be open to those different work patterns. Okay. Couple of other different things, just seeing what I've checked. So a little bit about placements kind of on there, and I've touched on it slightly. Our placement programs, they are open now. They have all gone live within the last 10 days. Our placement program in the branch operational side of things is very similar to our graduate program. The only difference is at the end of those 12 months, we're sending you back to university to complete your studies. The beauty of that, though, is you get to stay on with us part-time. You get to potentially be a campus brand ambassador. So like JJ is, JJ actually works for me as part of my team on campus at the University of Reading, trying to identify people to come and work in our business from there. So good ways to stay in the business so that hopefully what happens at the end of your studies, you come back to us full-time. You know, you join the graduate program. But the beauty of that is you've got a head start. You've done your year's training. It's a chance for you to sort of move up through the next stage and get yourself promoted and move on from there. So even when we're bringing people in at placement level, we are already thinking a couple of years down the line. Can we see you being a future leader? Can we see you being a manager in our business in the future? So that placement key is key, and you'll get exposure to all areas of the business. You'll learn so much. You will develop and grow as a person. That's for sure. Bear with me, just working my way through. Okay. So, got a question about the branch visits. Is it a mock working day? Not specifically. It's a work shadowing. So it's more a case of sort of really getting to see sort of what the role is about. We're not expecting you to start going out and driving our cars and delivering to our customers. We're not expecting you to log on to the systems and understand all of that. We're wanting you to get to see what the culture's like and getting a feel for the team that you're going to be working with. So you get to ask lots of questions, you get to engage in some conversations. It is nice when people on their interview do speak to the customers and get involved in those side of things, but we're not expecting you to work on the day. It's not a trial shift or anything like that. It's a chance for you to observe and to get a feeling for what our environment's like. JJ, when you went and did your final stages in the process, did you go into department? Did you get to meet the team, or were you sort of interviewing just job offered? How did it work from a support role side of things?
So I didn't actually get to go into the office before I started, but I did get to, I did like a big teams meeting
Yeah.
with my team and my line manager. So I got to like had like an idea of who I'd be seeing on my first day, which definitely put my nerves at ease. So it's slightly different from department to department. I know some people got the opportunity to come in and meet their line manager, but I didn't get that.
Yeah, perfect. Good. So, last thing that I'm going to touch on then, before we close this up and get done for 1 o'clock, is a little bit about support and mentoring. And JJ, we touched on this, and you said about sort of people that are still supporting you now. For us, development and support and having access to people that can help you with your career is key. We have specific mentoring programs. So whether that is mentoring programs to support people from certain backgrounds, so whether it's different ethnicities or whether it's a gender-based one, we have different committees that sort of operate and set up programs and guest sessions and talks and hosts and panels and all of these sorts of things. But we also have an informal mentoring program as well, where you can actually go out and start to build relationships and engage with different people. And for me, I never realized the power and the importance of a mentor until I got into this business. And I look back now and I think about the people that have helped me, that have opened doors for me, that have created opportunities and have said the right thing when I'm not in the room to actually give me a bit of a leg up. And that mentoring piece is so important. So yes, you'll get opportunity to be mentored, to support it and grow. So and JJ, you've seen that firsthand, haven't you? You've said about sort of your mentor, your manager, and the people that have helped you along the way. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. Perfect. Brilliant. Well, all it is left for me to say is thank you. Thank you to those of you that have joined us live on this. Thank you for those of you that have made the effort to put questions in the chat and in the Q&A. I really, really appreciate you doing that. There's a lot of information online. As I said, call to action with this is to apply online and get the process started. Lastly, I'd like to thank JJ. It's been wonderful having you on the call with us and giving an insight into your role. And like you say, who would have thought 13 or 14 months ago that you'd be kind of joint hosting a live webinar?
I
It's
know.
another step out of that comfort zone for you. So well
Oh,
done. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank you
thanks
for having
everyone
me.
and enjoy the rest of your day.